September 30, 2024, depending on composition from the Situation Council in the field of study AG041, Business and Management, was approved in the amount of 4 people. According to the minutes, to the meeting number 4, dated February 20, the Dissertation Council in the field of study the AG04041, Business and Management, approved in the Dissertation Council in the amount of 3. According to the attendance sheet, 7 members of the Dissertation Council are present. Permanent members of the Dissertation Council. Last name. First, Valentin Buraknikovich, Chairman. Professor of the Department of Economics, High School of Economics and Business, and Academic Position Society. Doctor of Economic Science and Professor. Sadiyeva Irina Kavlyakina, Acting Professor, Department of Economics and Accounting, High School of Economics and Business, and Academic Position. Doctor of Economic Sciences, Acting Gaudino Gayara Hedrich, High School of Economics and Business, and Academic Position. Director of Economic Sciences, Acting Kalila Ascent Technique, Senior Lecturer, Department of Economics, High School of Economics and Business, and Academic University. Temporary members of the Dissertation Council. Amanda Dinara Dusembina, Head of the Department Accounting and Statistics of University University. Candidate of Economic Sciences and Associate Professor. Baba Jide Michael Guayabo, Lecturer of Accounting at Express Business School, University of Exeter, PhD. Nearby Ideal and Professional Accountant, Director of India and LLC. According to the attendance sheet, 7 members of the Dissertation Council quorum is present. Allow us to begin the meeting of the Dissertation Council. The Dissertation Council meeting is declared open. The issue of the agenda in the defense and dissertation work for Dюсембиной С.Х with the topic analysis of the relation between differences and firm performance indicators, conceptual foundations, and implication prospects, submitted for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy PhD in the specialty 6D050A00 accounting. Dissertation of Dюсембиной С.Х was performed in the department of accounting and finance of the next years. This dissertation work is submitted for the first time. Scientific supervisors. Domestic scientific supervisor, PhD professor of the Department of Accounting and Finance, University Dimokhanova Vera Viktorovna. Foreign scientific supervisor, PhD assistant professor, College of Business and Public Management, University People's Republic of China in Shanghai. Official use of Biogenera, PhD, Assistant Professor, Faculty of Economics and Administration of Masai University, Czech. Kobe Oksana Yurievna, PhD, Acting Associate Professor of the Department of Finance Accounting, Academic Administration University. Kazakhstan, specialty 6D, 05080. Domestic scientific supervisor is present. Positive reviews from domestic and foreign scientific supervisors are available. Official reviews are present. Do the council members have any comments on the agenda? No. There are no comments. There is a motion for adoption of the agenda. Please, yes. Yes. Abstention? No. The council, the agenda was adopted. The floor for presentation of the question of file of the dissertation candidate is given to the scientific secretary of the dissertation council, Engineer Carolina Asylum.
Защита Дюсембиной was born in Almaty on 1st October 1972. Nationality is Kazakh. She holds a diploma of higher education from Al-Farabi Kazakh National University until 1989 and from 1989 to 1994. MBA from Kimab University and Master of Philosophy from Maastricht School of Management. Защита Дюсембиной has been studying at the PG program in the specialty Accounting and Audit from 2017 to 2020 and completed a scientific practice at BI Norwegian Business School in Oslo, Norway in 2020. Her work experience started in 1998 when Защита Дюсембиной worked as a lecturer at MBA program of Kimab University until 2002 when she worked as a head of Department of Management Reporting and Analysis at ATG Asia Technic Group. In 2003, 2004, and as a financial director in Planeta Elektroniki in 2005 to 2017. Since 2017, Защита Дюсембиной has been a senior lecturer at Bank College of Business, Kimab University. Защита Дюсембиной obtained international certification as a certificate management account from the Institute of Management Accountants, USA in 2002. She also a member of the European Accounting Association at the end of the Academy of Management, USA. The dissertation analysis of the relation between the book task difference and the firm performance indicators, conceptual foundation and implementation prospect is fulfilled in the Department of Accounting and Finance of the Bank College of Business at Kimab University. The topic of dissertation is initially approved by the Order 183 and 1, date November 26, 2018, and the change to the title was approved at the meeting of Department of Finance and Accounting at the Bank College of Business, Kimab University on 6th of December 2024, as confirmed by the Dean of Bank College of Business, Dr. Nijat Kapar. The dissertation has been recommended for defense by the Order number 1, date 30 April 2024, following this decision, the Doctoral Council of College of Business and the decision of extended meeting of the Department of Account and Finance of Bank College Business Kimab University. Minutes of meeting number 1, 19th of April 2024. Защита Дюсембиной has published 2 scientific articles in the international academic journals. First of all, International Review of Finance Analysis, extended in Scopus and Web of Science. Site score, impact, and the percentage is 90 7 as of 2024. Second article is in Asia Pacific Journal of Accounting and Economics, percentage rank 48 as of 2024. The findings of her studies related to the topic of dissertation were presented at the International Conference of the Economy of Management at the USA in 2024 at KIMOP International Research Conference in 2018 and 2024. The candidates' personal file include all the necessary documents submitted in accordance with the regulation of Committee for Quality Assurance in Science and Higher Education of Ministry of Science and Higher Education of Republic of Kazakhstan. The submitted materials comply with the established requirements for dissertation formatting as per Committee for Quality Assurance in Science and Higher Education of the Ministry of Science and Higher Education of the Republic of Kazakhstan. The candidate is allowed to proceed to defense.
Thank you.
That's it.
What questions will you ask to this or the secretary regarding the applicant's personal file?
No.
Any questions? There are no questions. So the floor is given to the applicant to present the content of the dissertation. Dюсембиной С.Х., you are given 20 minutes to present the main positions of your dissertation.
Dear members of the Dissertation Council, dear viewers, dear colleagues, I would like to thank you for the opportunity to present my dissertation titled Analysis of the Relation between the book tax differences and firm performance indicators, conceptual foundations, and implementation prospects. The dissertation was conducted at the Department of Accounting and Finance in Bank College of Business University. My research advisors are Professor Mira Ilmakhanova, the chair of Accounting and Finance Department in University, Professor Pak from College of Business and Public Management from University. So let me briefly outline the presentation. The structure of the presentation. I first start with the discussion of the relevance of the study, then I outline the goals and objectives of the research. I will discuss the major theories and identify the gaps in the literature. I'll present the main provisions for defense. Then I will briefly show the structure of the dissertation. Then I proceed to the results, and finally theoretical and practical implications will be discussed. Then I conclude the presentation. After the presentation, I'll be glad to answer your questions. First, relevance of the study for Kazakhstan. The recent discussions in the mass media and among the government officials show that the problem of tax avoidance is very important for the country and its importance is growing. As you may see on the slide, the tax revenue as a percent of GDP has been declining since 2010, and similar picture is observed for Russia. While the average indicator in the world is more or less stable. The estimates of the size of shadow economy differ. For instance, the government officials of Kazakhstan claim that the shadow economy is about 17% of GDP. However, the official source is estimated to 33%. Well, also Russia has a very high share of shadow economy in GDP. The government of Kazakhstan has been taking the measures for decreasing the size of shadow economy, and it is reflected in the comprehensive action plan to counter the shadow economy. And it is very important to ensure the high quality of financial reporting to control for tax avoidance. And well, here is the list of the documents. Okay, just a second, there are technical issues. Что нормально, ну, Dear participants, can you hear me and can you see the slides as well? Okay, sorry. All right. Well, then continue. Right. This problem is a serious problem not only for Kazakhstan or Russia, worldwide. The problem of tax avoidance is also present. And as you see on this slide, the global corporate tax revenue loss due to the profit shifting to tax havens has been increasing over the last 30 years. And as a result, what we see is that there is a growing interest in the study of the tax differences or tax avoidance in accounting research. And the lower graph shows the growing number of studies with the keywords group tax difference and tax earnings published in Scopus journals. So the goal of the study is to explore whether group tax differences are significantly related to firm performance indicators and to explore the factors influencing this relation within the context of weak institutional development. The institutes weak in Kazakhstan and Russia, as you may see on this map, these two countries percentile rank in the Voice and Accountability World Bank Index is quite low. The object of the study is the public funds of Kazakhstan and Russia, and the subject of the study is the relation between the BTPs, group tax differences, financial reporting quality, and firm performance. So here is the list of the objectives of the study that we have set in order to achieve the research goals. First is to study the conceptual and theoretical foundations, explain the relation between these subjective differences and company performance indicator. Second, to analyze the relation between group tax differences and group performance indicators on the example of public companies in Kazakhstan. Third, to analyze the relation between the components of group tax differences related and unrelated to earnings management. Fourth, to analyze the relation between BTDs and market value. We conduct this research using the sample of Russian firms. Fifth, analyze the impact of dividend policy on the relation between the tax differences and market value of companies. And finally, to analyze the relation between the tax differences and the market value of companies, how it performs before and after the IFRS were adopted in Russia. So the major theories that we rely on, and there is an ongoing debate. For instance, the traditional finance view, starting from Erwin Fisher, would say that income tax is a source of costs that can be reduced through efficient tax planning, and therefore tax planning has a positive impact on firm performance indicators. However, a more recent agency theory view would say that tax avoidance leads to information opacity and supports managers' self-dealing, and then tax avoidance would have a negative impact on firm performance indicators. Information asymmetry is a central concept in agency theory, and it would say that tax avoidance and information asymmetry are related, as the prior study showed. And then finally, the stakeholders theory says that, well, there are multiple stakeholders, not only the shareholders, whose interests are affected by tax avoidance. The studies are in Kazakhstan are limited on this topic, and there were a need for the development of a theoretical basis and methodological recommendations that were pointed out by the prior researchers. So the main provisions for the research. First, the relation between the group tax difference and performance indicators is determined by information asymmetry and agency programs, which impacts the interest of multiple stakeholders. Second, firms with larger group tax differences tend to exhibit poorer performance. then inferior firm performance of firms with large book tax differences is attributed to the aggravation of the information asymmetry problem, as book tax differences are associated with earnings management practices. Then investors consider firms with large book tax differences as high risk and incorporate this risk into share price. Then high dividend payouts mitigate the negative relation between book tax differences and firm market value. And finally, the observed relations between book tax differences and share price, dividend payout, are significant in the financial reporting prepared under IFRS or in the post-IFRS period. So here, this slide shows the structure of the dissertation. So according to the standards, there is an introduction. Then the first section contains the theoretical part. The second part presents the empirical study findings. There are two studies. So one is on Kazakhstan and the second one is on Russia. And the third part presents the discussion of the results and development of the recommendations. Finally, there are conclusions and preferences. So let me proceed to the main results. Well, first of all, the literature review shows that BTDs indicate both tax avoidance and earnings management, but larger BTDs companies are associated with high information asymmetry, deteriorated monitoring, and heightened risk for investors. As a result, we expect that high BTD companies would show the declined performance indicators, and then it will be reflected in the lower term market value. So let me present the empirical part. The first study is the study of Kazakhstan. There are two hypotheses that are tested using the sample of Kazakhstani firms. First hypothesis is that there is a negative association between book tax differences and accounting performance indicators. Here is the model that is being tested. Second hypothesis, the parts of book tax differences associated and non-associated with discretionary accruals have different relations to firm performance measures. And here is the model. In the models, we use year fixed effects and standard errors are clustered at firm level. And then with the recommendation of my reviewer, Professor Kozbaeva, I also tested the model using or by adding industry fixed effects. So here is the sample of the research. There are the initial sample contains 634 observations. The final sample for the second hypothesis contains 388 observations. For the first hypothesis, it is 402 observations. The sample is considered as representative because the total sum of sales in all the observations exceeds 88%. The left-hand table presents the distribution of the observations by industries, which reflects the overall impact of these industries in the economy of Kazakhstan. Okay, next, I start my analysis with the analysis of the frequency distribution of firm performance indicators. This graph shows the frequency distributions by the quartiles of the size of book tax difference. The first quartile represents the lower BTD rank, and fourth quartile represents the higher BTD rank. So as we can see, the median value of the firm performance indicator is high in the first quartile is higher than the median in the other quartile. So it gives us a hint that most likely there is some kind of relation between book tax differences and firm performance indicators. So here are the results of the test of the first hypothesis. As we can see, the main explanatory variable, the size of book tax difference, is significantly correlated with the dependent variables presented by 4 performance indicators. The left-hand side represents the result with the industry fixed effects, and as an additional analysis, when we include the year fixed effects, and in the additional analysis included industry fixed effects, and the results are qualitatively similar. The second hypothesis results are here. This is the averaged version of the table. Well, the model is the same, but here we add the part of the group taxations which are explained and not explained by the discretionary rules. And we can see that the coefficients are different, and while test shows us that the coefficients are significant. Well, similar results were obtained with the inclusion of industry fixed effects. So for a business test, I use these methods. That is the dynamic panel data analysis, system GMM method, and jackknife sampling. And now let me proceed to the results of the second study, which was conducted using the sample of Russian firms. So the next three hypotheses are tested using this sample. The first, the hypothesis number 3 is that book tax differences are negatively related to the firm market value. Next hypothesis, in the next hypothesis, we're testing the moderating impact of dividend payout on the relation between book tax differences and firm value. And finally, the relation between book tax differences and firm value, as well as the positive moderating role of dividends on this relation, is significant in both IFRS period. This is what I'm trying to test. So the results, first, here is the sample, and again, the initial sample contained 4,628 observations over 539 firms. And the final sample contained 1,421 observations. Sample is considered as representative because almost 80% of the total sales or total assets are represented by this final sample. Okay, next, the results of testing hypothesis number 3. And as we see, the coefficients on book tax difference are negative. That means that the larger BTG firms have lower market value. The control variables are presented here for gravity. And next hypothesis on the moderating effect of dividend policy. So this is the hypothesis, and we see that the coefficients on the interaction terms are significant when using two proxies of dividend payout, the payout ratio and the quintile rank of payout ratio, but the dividend payout dummy variable, which is one for dividend paying firms, is not significant. Would tell us that the dividend it is important how much of the dividends are paid to companies. So these are the results of the marginal effect analysis, and we can see that the coefficients are getting smaller as we move to the larger dividend payout ranks, and we can see this also on the graphs. The robustness test for this study was conducted using the two-stage SLS regression models. The instrumental variable is discretionary accruals represented by these two variables. The endogenous variables is BTD, and the dependent variable is firm value. So we conducted the test, and basically we followed the studies of the Harmapala to use this approach, and one was also using the discretionary accruals as the instrumental variable. So these are the results of the two-stage regression analysis. Again, the coefficients are negative and significant, and here are the results of the tests for the first stage. SLS analysis and the justification of conducting this SLS analysis using the During Household statistics test. Finally, last hypothesis, well, the role of IFRS. So here you can see the results for the sample before IFRS and after IFRS. So was adopted, so we can see that all of the book tax difference, the calculation of book tax difference is not significant in the pre-IFRS period, but is negative and significant in the after IFRS period. And the same can be said about the interaction variable. Okay, so next, as for the novelty of the study, I can say that, well, the three conceptual theoretical operators that determine the relation between book tax difference financial performance indicators have been identified using the literature review. The first study on Kazakhstan, it is the first study on Kazakhstan that analyzes the relation between book tax difference and financial indicator, and also looks at or connects the book tax differences to the accounting manipulative activities. Then it is the study that the study has been conducted on Russian firms, and this issue was not studied before in the post-IFRS period. For the first time, the moderating effect of dividend formacy was shown on the relation between book tax difference and market value, and the importance of IFRS has been also shown in this study. So the theoretical implications of the study, I would say that, well, it expands the understanding of the role of BTDs in the as an indicator of quality financial reporting. Adds to the qualitative accounting theory, adds to the theory of dividends by showing this moderating effect. There are also practical implications that basically refer to the application of the fair value measurement, IFRS 13, for instance, and some other standards. Okay, so the conclusions is that, well, first of all, the relation between book tax differences and performance indicators is determined by information asymmetry. This is the conclusion based on the literature review. Second, large book tax differences tend to exhibit poorer performance book value-based indicators in public firms of Kazakhstan. Third, inferior firm performance of firms with large book tax differences is attributed to the aggravation of the information asymmetry problem. Then investors value firms with large BTDs at a discount. Higher dividend payout mitigate the negative relation between book tax differences and firm market value. And observed relations between book tax differences, share price, and dividend payout are significant in the post-IFRS period. So thank you for your attention, and I would like to listen to your question, and I'll be happy to answer your questions.
Thank you. The report is complete. What questions will be asked?
I would like to ask questions. First question: could high accounting and tax account differences be the result of legal and effective tax optimization rather than profit manipulation? Second question: apart from the dividend policy, what other tools can companies use to reduce the negative impact of accounting and tax accounting differences?
The members of council, do you have questions?
Professor Richard, perhaps you have a question, or Gulnara Dusембиновна?
I have questions.
Okay.
Алло? Ой, можно, да, задавать?
Да, можете задавать.
The three questions. Do tax differences affect the investment attractiveness of companies? Next question. How can companies manage tax differences to increase their market value? What are the practical implications of your work for accountants? That's all.
Other questions?
So I'm sorry, just to clarify, is this the time that we're supposed to ask the question like all the members? Or is it for the general audience then?
This is the
Yeah.
for the viewer.
Yeah.
Can she ask her
Yes,
questions?
yes, please.
So I can ask the questions, right?
Yes.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Thank you. So first of all, let me allow to thank Saulia for giving the opportunity to read the incredible work that she has done. And of course, the changes that she made for the final, the revision that she made for the final submission as well. So she addressed most of my concerns already, but I still left a couple of questions that I would like to get an answer from you. So I would have like one technical question and the more of a discussion types later. So the technical question would be, you also saw it during the revisions as well. So basically in your last part of the thesis, when you studied the impact of IFRS, so there basically you separated the sampling between before and after. And of course, as an economist, my immediate question is, why didn't you, because that's the standard setting for a simple diff and diff. So my first question would be why you chose just the subsampling instead of using like I don't know, the interaction term of before and after, or a proper diff and diff setting. That would be the technical question. And then more about for the discussion is what are the risk assessing measures used by the tax authorities in Kazakhstan or in Russia, and how are those different from the book tax difference that you're using? That would be one. The other one would be, you also saw it during the comments that I provided, is that the BT difference can also stem from unintended errors, right? So what were the methods, because I don't think it was clear from the thesis, but what is the method or the threshold that you use to differentiate basically between the intended and unintended differences? And the last one would be, so you studied the, let me see the question first. So you studied the link between the BT difference and firm performance using like the agency and the information asymmetry series, right? And also you mentioned that the ownership structure of the firms impacts that connection as well. So my question there is basically, given the ownership structure of the firms in Kazakhstan or in Russia, the sampling you can choose, how should we interpret your results? Yes,
Oh,
that would be yes, the questions. Thank you so much.
thank you. Professor Bola, read the microphone.
Yes, yeah, thank you very much for your presentation. I have two questions for you. The first question is, what is the international relevance of your study? What is the implication of your study for the international community? Because I believe that when we conduct research, we should be able to draw out clearly how other countries would benefit from your study. That's the first question I want to ask. Then the second question I want to ask is related to the first question, and that would be, what are some of the limitations of your study that you would probably suggest other researchers to pick in the future to do research? Thank you.
Thank you. Hi, is saying about data you use. How many time periods are they stationary? Where did you check stationarity? And second question, which method did you use for first regulations? Displays method? Two-stage displays? And third, did you check did you make some tests of heterogeneity, indigeneity, and others? Do you have other questions? Yes.
Джоб, кажется, кто-то хотел весь вопрос задать. Что было?
Temporary members, do you have additional questions?
Можно будет задать вопрос, да? Да. Я извиняюсь, можно я на русском скажу больше, лучше изложить, чем на английском? Может быть, вот такой вопрос. Значит, какая теория используется для объяснения вот именно сдерживающего эффекта выплаты дивидендов? Это первый вопрос. И второй вопрос. Как результаты исследования могут быть использованы финансовыми директорами? Это второй вопрос. Спасибо.
Thank you. So, do you need time to prepare for answer? Okay. Questions? While the applicant is preparing to answer the question, the floor is given to the domestic scientific supervisor, PhD professor of the Department of Accounting and Finance, the University,
Dear members of the committee, thank you so much for giving us this opportunity to present the dissertation of Защита Дюсембиной. And this dissertation has been on the topic of the influence of book tax difference on the, first of all, financial indicators, and secondly, on the market value firms in two countries, in Kazakhstan and Russia. Why these two countries? Because as it was shown by Saulia, the share of the shadow economy in these two countries is quite significant, accounts for almost like a third of the GDP in Kazakhstan and more than a quarter in Russia. And this issue, first of all, it's important for most of countries, for all the countries. Tax avoidance and its implications on the economy is not relevant only for the transition economies or emerging markets, but rather for the whole globe. Though for these two countries, it's quite pronounced simply because we have, first of all, high level of corruption, and secondly, we have also problems in perception of the tax system by the companies, by firms, and they perceive it as unfair and try to avoid taxes. Therefore, the novelty or relevance of this dissertation is quite important because it shows, first of all, how this book tax difference affects financial indicators of the companies, and secondly, also shows its effect on the market value of the companies. Also, it answering maybe one of the questions of the reviewers, that there is, in order to signal to potential investors about the value and the quality of the company, definitely firms will try to give some signals, and they might use actually dividend policy as a signal to attract some investors. So this type of research hasn't been done before. Therefore, this is the first time when this kind of research is performed. So secondly, Saulia has provided quite a significant theoretical framework, combining different types of theories and showing solid foundation for different types of results. And I believe that this work is very solid scientific research and adds value to the literature, first of all, and second, in general, it's quite of high quality and definitely deserves to be considered as like being fulfilling the requirements for the PhD candidate. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Vanina. The floor is given to the foreign scientific supervisor, PhD assistant professor, College of Business and Public Management, Minzhou University, People's Republic of China, Kunshu Park, to announce the review. Please.
Can you share my PowerPoint slide right now? Is it seeing this one? Okay, thank you. Okay, hello everyone. Let me introduce myself. So my name is Kunshu Park. I'm the assistant professor of accounting at the Wenzhou University in China. Today I'm very happy to attend Mrs. Saule Dusembia dissertation defense today. I'm going to share my evaluation report on her dissertation with the respected member of the council and the reviewers. Before discussing my evaluation report, so I would like to mention the following. I'm currently serving the on her dissertation committee as a foreign supervisor. I have been serving the supervising her PhD dissertation since 2018. Since then, I have had many interactions with her regarding the revising and updating the dissertation draft. Okay, so in my opinion, this dissertation time is very timely and has the potential to contribute to the literature on book text difference and the font value, which is still an ongoing issue in the area of accounting. I think it's a very important topic this one here. And then I think the dissertation also provides meaningful implication for the academics and the practitioners by providing empirical evidence on the relationship. Okay, and then so more importantly, so we have published 2 paper articles in highly respected international peer review journals. The first one, International Review of Financial Analysis, and the second one is the Asia Pacific Journal of Accounting and Economics. We published this in these journals. So far, we have also several ongoing research projects. So I'm optimistic that they will result in the publications in highly respected journals in the near future. I hope. Okay, I'm hoping this is here. Okay. Let's get started talking about my evaluation on the dissertation in more detail. Okay. To do this, I prepare for some of the pages of the PowerPoint slide. So first one, I would like to mention 2 paper article publications. I think that this paper is very good journals. And then the first one is one of the leading journal in finance, but the Saule did a very good job in developing the research idea and the developing research methodology. And also we had many interactions when we discussed some of the hypotheses regarding this topic. Okay, this is here. Okay, next, I would like to mention the overall evaluation. The first one, in my opinion, this dissertation is very relevant, and then that dissertation tried to address many important issue or some the dispute regarding the book text difference and the font value. So in the area of accounting, and then I think some dissertation objective is well described. Also, the dissertation research question is clearly the match with the dissertation objective. So in my opinion, this is here. And then research design and the methodology, in my opinion, very proper to describe the relationship between the book text difference and the font value. This is here. Also in the conclusion part, so it is well written and some properly described. Okay, so I would like to discuss my evaluation report in more detail. The first one, I think some the dissertation title fully capture the dissertation, the study. Okay, this is here, and then also this is the title is very informative in my opinion. This is here. The second one, the last semester I did recommend Saule the updating the abstract part. So at that time, that abstract is the length of the abstract is very long. So at the time, I did recommend. So the Saule, the changing, updating the abstract. So now is that abstract is very clear and very concise to me. Okay, this is here. And then the background. This dissertation is provided sufficient background to describe the book text, the difference, the environment, and also each the relationship with the font value. Okay, and then this dissertation provided some the empirical evidence, the moderating role of the dividend policy, so on the book text difference and the font value. I think it's very the interesting findings. This is here. Also, the research motivation is well described, and also the problem statement is well presented. Also, objective research question and the scope also well presented this one here. Then, one of the main strengths of the dissertation, that dissertation is provide huge contribution and implication to the accounting area. So more specifically, this is the paper that mainly investigates the relationship between book text difference and the font value. And then as your second contribution, the paper is investigate the moderating role of the dividend policy on the relationship between the book text, the difference, and font value. I think this is the research enhance or add this is the findings to the existing literature review. In my opinion, this is here. Regarding the literature review and theoretical framework, when I received some updated report from the Saule last semester, in my opinion, there are many problems. And then I gave her the many comments, the suggestion regarding the literature review and the theoretical framework. During the following months, she had the updated literature review and theoretical framework. So now, when I received the final version, I was very happy because she did some changing, updating this part. Okay, this is here. Also, in my opinion, regarding the hypothesis development, it doesn't make sense. And then, so she tried to connect this kind of relationship between the book text difference and the font value in a more logical way. So, and then we are thinking about the more strong the hypothesis the development, and then we have the frequently interact with each other regarding the development of the hypothesis. When I received the final version, I was very happy because I fully understand the relationship between this is the relationship, and then it looks more strong. So it's the connection, in my opinion, is here. And regarding the empirical analysis and the interpretations, I think we cannot explain everything using the empirical analysis when some investigate something, but Saule, she tried to overcome the many empirical issues when she explained or provide some evidence concerning the relationship between the book text difference and the font value. So that's why she used a bunch of the empirical analysis, and then she did provide many strong support for the relationship. That's why I know we cannot address many empirical issues, but she has to attempt to tackle, overcome this kind of some empirical issue or problem. Okay. And the last, regarding the discussion and the conclusion part, so for the initial version, there are many missing information concerning the discussion and the conclusion, such as limitation or future study or some of the implications. But after updating this part, the conclusion part, it looks very good. I know some after finishing this is the today meeting, the Saule, she should also update her dissertation in terms of many excellent, valuable comment from the review or some today the meeting attended is here. So, but to me, I'm satisfied with the discussion and the conclusion part. Okay, this is here. Okay, so the language and the reference. Yeah, I'm also not native speaker, and also Saule also not the native speaker. But I try to improve my English skill, but it's not easy. Okay, this here. But for the dissertation, Saule and we try to find the many typo and ungrammatical sentence. And also, I recommend her use some professional editing service. So I know she asked some regarding the proofreading to the professional editing service. That's why after then I can feel better to understand all of the English sentence. Okay, this is here. Okay, so in terms of the previous my evaluation, so I would like to recommend this dissertation draft to be accepted. I know, so there are many problems, many issues, but to me, I'm very happy because Saule spent much time, usually 7 years, to complete this dissertation. But during the process of 7 years, she spent a lot of time revising and updating this draft many times. So that's why after maybe some of the review today, some of the review gave us some the comment, the recommendation, but I think it's in the minor issue in my opinion. Okay, and that's why after the finishing today depends, Saule should try to update or reflect on many the valuable comment from the review, and then. But in my opinion, I'm thank you for you to recommend this dissertation to be accepted today. Okay. That's it. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Let's move on to answering the questions. Dussembinej S.Х, are you ready?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So there were several questions. First questions was regarding do companies use legal means of tax optimizations, if I understand it correctly? Yes, in general, tax avoidance is the range of different strategies that include both the legal means and some more aggressive strategies. For example, could be investing into tax-exempt securities that decrease the tax base and decrease the tax expenses. Or that could also involve such activities like the real activities. For instance, one of the companies in Kazakhstan, that is a company that is in the food processing sector. What they did is that they purchased land, and that allowed them to use some tax preferences or tax allowances and to decrease the tax expenses using the legal way. So tax avoidance does not necessarily mean that they do something illegal. It can be both legal and more aggressive strategies like using offshore zones as well. Okay, so that was the first question. Second question, what are the other means of other tools that companies can use other than the dividends, right? In general, I would say that the most efficient tool would be transparency, increasing the quality of financial reporting, increasing the disclosures in the financial reporting. As for what are why did they get this tax expenses? There are some requirements about the temporary book tax differences and permanent book tax differences, but sometimes they're not sufficient to make sure that we completely understand. And the literature also says that for investors this is a difficult issue, and investors actually put more risk premium if there are not enough disclosures. So I would suggest that companies should increase transparency of their financial reporting. Actually, one of the regions of the European Accounting Association, there was a discussion that the professionals need actually more research that would look at the disclosures in financial reporting and what are the implications of that, because it is still a question like maybe companies, if they disclose too much, maybe there's too much information that would not help for investors. Okay, thank you. All right, second group of questions. Just a second. The second question was the second group of questions was from Ivna. The first one: is there any relation between book tax differences and investment efficiency? Thank you for this question. Very interesting question indeed. And actually, I started one of the researches that connects tax avoidance measurements with the investment efficiency. So there are ways to measure investment efficiency. And this question is being researched. So I would say that, if the tax avoidance relates to some kind of manipulative practices, that would reflect poor level of the corporate governance in general. And most likely, then it leads to the decreased investment efficiencies. And there are studies that show that companies with large book tax differences actually have higher levels of inefficient investment. So I hope I answered this question. Next question is about the practical implications of book tax differences. So I would say that there are the practical implications for accountants relate to how these study results can be used for the assessment of intangible assets. And it is a problem, as an article of Professor Borrello. I read your article where you are saying that the auditors actually are having difficulties with checking the assumptions that the accountants use for the measurement of the fair value of intangible assets and other assets as well. So I think these research results could be helpful in this regard. Another question for my group would be how companies manage book tax differences, or can they manage book tax differences to increase the market value. Possibly yes, if the tax difference become a widely used indicator, then most likely the focus of company managers would be on managing tax differences. For now, I think companies are managing their tax expense to a larger degree because companies are interested in decreasing their tax expenses. I would, did I answer your questions? Я ответила на ваши вопросы. Ну, видимо.
Чуть громче.
Okay. Then the questions of Professor Alpatbaeva. First one, why did I use the IFR? Why did I use the sample separation of samples instead of using a dummy variable of IFRS? I would say, well, this is also a possible way, right? And it is one of the common ways that researchers use. Well, first of all, I also, well, in addition to that, I've run the model with IFRS dummy, and the results were similar. So that was the motivating sort of impact of IFRS. However, well, we have to keep in mind that IFRS adoption is a lengthy process. Most likely, there is some learning curve involved. So in the beginning, accountants and managers had small or little knowledge about how to use it, but gradually they learn, so it may have some kind of effect on the results. Well, and also in the pre-IFRS period, there are different companies and different number of observations. So I thought it would be more safe just to run the regressions in these two subsamples. Did I answer this question? Okay. The assessment used by the government, well, to my knowledge, well, we all see that when we submit the reports, tax reports to the authorities, that the first message that we receive is the message about the tax risk of the company. And it is measured by, well, the tax authorities mainly look at the size of tax expenses and make sure that the tax expenses do not decrease a lot, especially during the crisis periods. On the other hand, they look at, well, how small the tax expenses, and I think that then that creates additional incentive for financial directors and accountants to smooth the tax expenses. I also read one article written by Kuba, who said that, well, tax authorities in other countries look at the standard deviation of the effective tax rates, which also shows the how the effective tax rate changes from period to period. The question about the unintended errors, well, how can we divide the BTDs that are a result of intended or unintended actions, right? So first thing is that I would say, yes, this is one of the weaknesses of BTD. BTDs don't differentiate between the differences that appear because of the errors or because of the manipulated practices. But the method that we use by decomposing BTD into the part that is related to discretionary accruals and not related to discretionary accruals, that would perhaps help in the future to make sure that we're looking at BTDs that relate to the manipulated practices and those that just appear because of the individual companies noise. So sometimes companies do make mistakes, but that would be reflected in this error part. The question about the connection between the tax difference and performance in the context of ownership structure. So first of all, both Kazakhstan and Russia, our countries have very high concentrated ownership structure, and that inevitably has an effect on the corporate governance. The level of corporate governance development, and not only in Kazakhstan and Russia. For instance, we made a research with Professor Kutupak about the foreign institutional investors, right? So there are many issues that can be related to ownership structure. Well, as for the concentrated ownership, usually if we have one large shareholder, the shareholder would be controlling the company, and if such a large shareholder would be interested in the decrease of the tax expenses. On the other hand, Kazakhstan and Russia have very high involvement of the state in the ownership. And in that case, it is possible that, well, if the state controls the companies efficiently, then that would not result in decrease of the tax payments or increase in tax avoidance. But that depends on the quality of the control from the government. Well, foreign investors bring some knowledge of the corporate governance that will also have the impact on this relation. I think, yes, I basically answered the question. Well, in general, I would say that ownership structure would affect these relations through the changes in the corporate governance, right? So the issue is whether the companies, what is the attitude in the companies that that have the different ownership structure. Right. So next question is about the Professor Koeva. So the international relation of the study results. Now, how other countries would benefit? Well, first of all, I would say that well, there are different groups who can benefit from the study results. First one is that well, other emerging countries, right? So the same issues will be observed or would be observed in other emerging countries with similar contexts, and the emerging countries have a large share of the overall world economy, right? So it is very important. On the other hand, international investors to the emerging countries will also benefit from this study results, because they have to be aware of this from value discount, for instance, right? And they have to be, know what are the risks related to the investments in countries and companies with higher tax differences. But in general, the studies on group tax difference, they started particularly in the United States, Western European countries. So the problem is present in many countries, right? However, well, for instance, there was study showing that companies with weak corporate governance in companies have different relations between tax difference and transparency, right? So in the United States, for example, results show that there is a positive effect of excise but in the companies with poor corporate governance, the relation is negative. Limitations of these studies, study, well, there are several limitations due to many factors. One is the one group of limitations comes from the context of the study. Well, first of all, it is emerging countries, that is one thing, right? So most likely the results are generalizable to the context with similar characteristics. Second is the well, as I said, multi-data doesn't reflect some benevolent tax avoidance from other aggressive tax optimization strategies. Then the problem is about the sample size in Kazakhstani firms, I would say, but that is some kind of the objective situation because of the size of the economy. However, Professor Kulbaiva recommended to me to try to get the data from the Bureau of National Statistics. I know that companies submit a bit different data to the statistics agency. They are mostly forward-looking data, not the data from the financial reporting. That is one thing, but nevertheless we have the agency that collects the financial reports as well, right? However, it's like manual collection of the data would be required, so it would take some more time. However, that is a good thing to do in future studies to collect more data from Kazakhstan and test whether the relations would matter. Especially if we want to see or to test for the difference of the incentives that would be valid in companies which are public companies, right? The companies which are not public companies that are traded in the stock exchange, so it is possible to have the information of the data. And another limitations would come from, well, the results, they relate to, they show that there is a correlation between good executives and fund performance indicators. But we didn't test the causal relations, and additional tests would be needed to be run to understand the causal relation. Whether tax difference effect from that. Okay, so the next group of questions, your questions. The first one is how many time periods? Well, the study on Kazakhstan firm covers the period of started from 2005 until 2022. The reason for that is that, well, that is the year when Kazakhstan moved to, or public companies in Kazakhstan moved to the international financial reporting standards, and 2022 was the last year when I was collecting the data last year. For Russia, there are two periods, right? So in the first part, I started with 2000 until 2011. It's the second part, pre-IFRS period. Starting from 2012 until 2020 is the period for the sampling Russian companies. I did not cover the after 2020 period because of the political situation that might have an effect on the findings and really the unavailability of data after 2020. So the second question is about the methods. Yes, well, we started with OLS, but well, since this method would be like I would say weak method for panel data, there are some instruments that we used. First of all, it is the fixed year effect. Second, then in addition, industry year effects, and what's more important is that the standard errors are clustered at firm level, so that would help us. That helps to actually cover those indigeneity and specificity problems that we obviously would have in panel data, right? Because in panel data, for example, the observation for one company throughout the years will be affected by the same factors, or if we look at the cross-section analysis, but for the same factors would affect different companies in the same year, right? So we have to. That's why we actually use the additional methods, like for instance, well, first of all, it is the dynamic panel regression model to control for the effect of the previous years performance indicators on the given year, right? That is one thing. Another one was the jackknife sampling procedure. well, basically it is a kind of a randomly chosen samples out of the sample, right, that tests the same model for several times, and then the overall the applications of the model is tested. So I think that we covered that. For the Russian firms, we use the different stage list squares method, and there are several tests that were run. We test for the first stage in stock yogurt test shows that if statistics is larger than 10, which is the good indicators to say that the instrumental variable is a good instrument for the variable GPT. And then, well, and of course, we tested for the need for this instrumental variable. So during the household tests showing that yes, there is a need to conduct two lessons. It is better than conducting simply like all of this. Yes. Did I answer? Stationarity. Yes, we tested for stationarity in the very beginning when we conducted the study. However, well, there was no stationarity. That's the first thing, and we use the ratios. We determine the variables with the ratios that decreases this risk of stationarity. For example, firm value is measured using the Tobin's Q ratio, that is the ratio of market value, market position to the book value of company, and that reduces this risk of stationarity.
There are some checking methods.
Yes, we conducted the tests. To be honest, I may be mistaken, right? But during Watson test and Phillips different tests were conducted. I think, yeah, well, if I'm not mistaken.
And are you sure that you avoid indigeneity?
Well, this is well, indigeneity would be present in more or less models, right? But since we use the additional, so we kind of protected ourselves, right? With choice elements, with jackknife, and with the fixed effects, which are industry fixed effects and fixed effects and standard deviations.
Yes.
Oh,
Generalized method of moments.
yes, right, and system generalized methods. And we tested yet for Hansen's test, yes, for very high restrictions. So, and the last questions about, just a second, yes, we'll now the questions. Which theory was used to explain the moderating effect of the dividend payout? Well, first of all, agency theory would be applicable here, but in addition to that, the signaling theory of dividends would say that, well, companies use dividend payout to signal that the lower risk to investors with increasing by increasing the dividend payout. So that is a theory that can be applied. And how the results can be used by the financial directors. Well, I think if we look at the dividend payout, right? Well, first of all, financial directors could kind of use this tool for controlling the market share of their companies. However, I would suggest that it is more efficient to increase the transparency of the company instead of trying to increase the dividend payout, because the dividends are quite a costly method for controlling the market values. Okay, did I answer all questions, or are there any more questions or clarifications?
Are there any more questions? No. The floor is given to the first official reviewer, PhD, assistant professor, faculty of economics administration at Masaryk University, Czechia, Absbayeva Dinara.
Well, yes, once again, thank you for giving the opportunity to read the work, and also, of course, thank you for addressing almost all of the initial comments that I got. I am satisfied with both the dissertation or the revised version of the dissertation and the answers that you provided for the remaining questions. Yes.
Thank you. So what do you have final recommendation?
It's all.
Yeah, final recommendation. It's just that it was already sort of specified in the review paper as well. So I thought that you already saw it, but sorry about that. Yeah, if I may to sort of say it out loud, then yes, I do recommend for the acceptance of the PhD. Yeah.
Can you say the main points of your review?
The main points of my review. Well, in general, the title reflects the thesis. The abstract is very concise and to the point. The literature review is also to the point, relevant, and captures the aspects related to the question of the study. The empirical tests or the empirical structure of the thesis was also broad. She used a multitude of different specifications. That's one thing, multiple different techniques depending on the data and the question that she's after. That's also a good sign. Again, there was a comment regarding adding the industry fixed effects, so that was also addressed. The conclusion and basically the implications of the study were also clearly stated. There were some minor comments basically related to the formatting and stuff. Those were also addressed during the final revision round. So yes, that would be the summary of the review.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. The floor is given to the second official reviewer, PhD, acting associate professor of the Department of Finance and Accounting on the High School of Economics and Business of the Al-Farabi Kazakh National University, Robert Oksana Yulia.
I welcome the members of the Dissertation Council. Let me begin my review. First criteria, the topic of the thesis corresponds to the direction for development of science and state program. The dissertation corresponds to the priority direction of the development of science approved by the High Scientific and Technical Commission under the government of the Republic of Kazakhstan. A number of 4 state programs. Second, importance for science. The work makes a significant contribution to science, and its importance is well disclosed. The study contribution to the area of accounting and its connection to taxation, especially in the context of the recent tax influence in the economy of Kazakhstan. It is the first study to provide evidence of the moderating effect of dividend payout of the relationship between book tax differences and firm value. The next criteria is the principle of independence and self-reliance level, my opinion, high level. The doctorate student adherence to the principle of independence is demonstrated through the work carried out by her in terms of data collection, development of testable hypotheses, and development in conclusion and recommendation. Next criteria is the principles of inner unity. Justification of the relevance of the thesis, my opinion, justified. The study in the dissertation is highly relevant to the developing economies and addresses important issue for Kazakhstan. It explores the connecting between the book tax differences and film performance, which is especially important in the context of the budget difficult deficit currently faced by the government of Kazakhstan. The topic is relevant to the development of accounting theory as it addresses this identified gap in accounting literature. Next criteria, the content of the thesis reflect the topic of the thesis, in my opinion, reflects. The content of the thesis currently reflects the topic. It contains an analysis of the relevant theoretical foundation developed testable hypotheses based on established theories, conduct statistical analysis of panel data on book tax differences and performance indicators, and formulated conclusions and recommendations based on the analysis conducted. Next criteria, the proposed and objectives correspond to the topic of the thesis. In my opinion, correspond. The dissertation examines the relationship between tax differences and film performance indicators in Kazakhstan and Russia, and explores the factors influencing this relationship. The tasks as stated in the thesis are relevant to the state objective and have been rarely identified. Next criteria, all sections and provisions of the thesis are logically interconnected. In my opinion, completely interconnected. All sections of the dissertation are logically well connected. The first section of the thesis start with an overview of the exciting literature and introduces the main theoretical concepts such as book tax differences, tax avoidance, economic management, from performance. The second section describes the data collection process and presents the results of the data analysis. The third section presents a discussion of the obtained results and concludes with the development of recommendation which based on the conducted analysis. And overall, the logical sequence of the sections of the dissertation reinforces the systematic approach of the research. Next criteria is the new solution proposed by the author resolved and evaluated in comparison with the announced solution. My opinion, there is a critical analysis. The study offers an innovative approach for extracting the component of book tax differences related to manipulative accounting practices and integration of them in the valuation of company assets. Next criteria, scientific novelty principles. Are the scientific results and provisions new? My opinion, partially new. Result first, the study identifies the key conceptual and theoretical foundation defining the relationship between book tax differences and film performance. Result second, the relation between book tax differences and film performance indicators is analyzed in the context of public funds in Kazakhstan. This is the first study of this kind in Kazakhstan. The study built on prior research linking book tax differences to annual management. Results sought, a model is developed to describe a relationship between the components of book tax differences and financial indicators of firm value, incorporating the decomposition of book tax differences into components related and unrelated to earnings management in the context of public funds in Kazakhstan. Result was the relationship between book tax differences and film market value is analyzed in context of public funds in the Russian Federation. The study builds on prior study by Goncharov and Zimmerman of accounting practice in Russia. and results the study reveals the moderating impact of dividend policy on the relationship between book tax differences and firm market value. No prior studies have indicated the moderating role of dividend buyout in this relationship. And the result 6. The study examines the role of financial reporting prepared in accordance with the FRS in analyzing the relationship between book taxes differences and firm market value. And next criteria, as the dissertation findings new, my opinion, partially new. Also, tax avoidance is an important issue. No prior studies have addressed the question of the relationship between book tax differences and firm performance indicators in the study context. Next criteria, technical, technological, economic, management decisions are new and reasonable. In my opinion, partially new. The dissertation offers a novel approach to utilizing the information contained in book tax differences for the valuation of firms' assets, such as goodwill and other intangible assets. This approach is important because it incorporates the risk related both to the tax management and earnings management into the valuation of assets. Next criteria, the validity of the main findings. All the main conclusions are based on scientifically significant evidence of well-grounded. The conclusions are derived from scientifically significant evidence obtained using established analytical method. The data is extracted from a reliable financial database. Next criteria, the main provision for the defense. Is the provision proven? My opinion, information asymmetry and agency problems impact the interest of multiple stakeholders and form the relation between book tax differences and firm performance. My opinion, proven. Is it trivial? My opinion, no. Is it new? My opinion, yes. Application level, my opinion, why? Is it proven in the article? Yes. Sorry, Dюсембиной have 2 articles. Next, firm with larger book tax differences tend to exhibit poorer performance. Is the provision proven? My opinion, proven. Is it trivial? My opinion, no. Is it new? My opinion, yes. Application level, my opinion, why? And is it proven in the article? My opinion, yes. So Dюсембиной have 1 article. Inferior firm performance of firm with large book tax differences is attributed through aggravation of information asymmetry problem as book tax differences are associated with earnings management practice. Is it provision proven? My opinion, proven. Is it trivial? My opinion, no. Is it new? My opinion, yes. Application level, my opinion, why? Is it proven in the article? My opinion, yes. Dюсембиной only have 2 articles. Fourth, investor consider firms with large book tax differences as high risk and incorporate this risk into share price. Is the provision proven? Proven. Is it trivial? No. Is it new? Yes. Application level, why? Is it proven in the article? Yes. Dюсембиной only have 1 article. This one. And next, high dividend buyouts mitigate the negative relation between book tax differences and firm's market value. Is it provision proven? Proven. Is it trivial? No. Is it new? Yes. Application level, why? Is it proven in the article? Yes. Dюсембиной only have 1 article. This point. 6. Financial reporting prepared in under IFRS improve financial information transfer and affects the relation between book tax differences and from value. Is the provision proven? My opinion, proven. Is it trivial? No. Is it new? Yes. Application level. Why? Is it proven in the article? Yes. Dюсембиной С.Х have one article. Next criteria is the principle of reliability of sources of information provided. The choice of methodology is carefully justified based on both theoretical foundation and practical applicability to the research questions. The selected methodology directly addresses the research hypothesis. The methodology is based on widely accepted approaches in empirical accounting research. The dissertation ensures that the methodology is transparent, rigorous, and replicable. Next criteria, the results of the theses were obtained using modern methods of scientific research and method of processing and interpreting data using computer technologies. Yes, the result of the theses were obtained using contemporary empirical research method and advanced econometric techniques to ensure accuracy, robustness, and replicability of findings. The statistical analysis was conducted using STATA 17.0, which was widely recognized software for econometric and statistical analysis. Next criteria, theoretical conclusion models identified relationship and patterns have been proven and confirmed by experimental research. Yes, no, my opinion, no, because theoretical conclusion models and identified relationship and patterns have been validated and confirmed through observational empirical research, which is well justified in economic and accounting studies. Empirical research analyzes real-world data without direct intervention. In financial accounting research, where real-world data is more relevant, empirical research is often preferred due to the empirical of controlled experimentation. Next criteria important statement are confirmed by references to current and relevant scientific literature. The thesis development is built on a rigorous literature review. References to current and relevant scientific literature are properly made with a list of references consisting of 2024 sources. Next criteria, use literature sources are sufficient for a literature review. The literature sources are relevant and sufficient, providing well-founded theoretical and empirical basis for the study. The dissertation includes key academic works on book taxes, differences, tax avoidance, on management, and firm performance from peer-reviewed journal articles establish a strong theoretical framework. Next criteria, practical value principle. The thesis has theoretical value. My opinion, yes. The dissertation expands theoretical and methodological approaches to the analysis of accounting indicators and their relationship to firm performance indicator. The dissertation depends the understanding of book tax differences as indicators of firm management and tax planning. Next criteria thesis is on practical importance, and there is a high probability of applying the result obtained in practice. My opinion, yes. The thesis is of practical importance, and the findings have direct practical application of accounting and auditing particularly in financial reporting, quality, risk assessment, and compliance with IFRS. Next criteria are the practice suggestions new. My opinion, completely new. The practical suggestion in the thesis provide new and valuable insights, particularly in applying book tax differences to fair value determination. Next criteria, the quality of writing and design. Academic writing quality, my opinion, high. The thesis is writing in a clear and academic style. It presents complex economic and financial concepts in a clear and precise manner. Next criteria notes on a thesis. The dissertation is a complete scientific study prepared in accordance with the principles and requirements for PhD theses as defined by the rules for awarding degrees issued by the Ministry of Education of the Republic of Kazakhstan. Next criteria, scientific level of the doctoral study, doctoral student's article on the topic of research. The scientific level of the doctoral student's article on the topic of research is high academic standard. 2 articles have been published in peer-reviewed Web of Science as focus indexes academic journals. And next criteria, decisions of the official review pursuant to paragraph 28 of the present model regulation to award the degree of Doctor of Philosophy, PhD. And my conclusion, the content of the dissertation corresponds to the goals and the objective of the research. The work was conducted by the requirement and criteria for dissertation submitted by applicants for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy by the Science and Higher Education Quality Assurance Committee of the Ministry of Science and the Higher Education of the Republic of Kazakhstan. Thus, Защита Дюсембиной deserves to be awarded the degree of Doctor of Philosophy in the specialty of accounting. Thank you for
Thank you, Oksana Yuryevna. The applicant is asking to respond to the comments. Are you agree?
Yes. Yes.
Thank you. The formal discussion is over. The official reviewers have been positive feedback on candidate's dissertation. Let's move on to the discussion. Please. Professor Babajulia Michael Oyel, do you want to say about the dissertation? Please.
Okay, yeah, thank you very much. For the dissertation, most of the concerns I have has been addressed in terms of the contribution of the study to knowledge, the empirical analysis, and then the relevance of the study to the international community, and all the robustness check and the econometric analysis, all those tick the box for me. So, and when we look at the contribution of the study to knowledge, the study makes original contribution to knowledge. So I would say that to a very large extent, the thesis satisfies international standards and international requirements. And I would really recommend that the thesis is accepted, subject to those corrections, because, of course, even as researchers, when we submit our papers to journals, there will be areas of improvement as peer review. So, but overall, the study contributes to knowledge. And I believe strongly that if the author incorporates those ideas to revise the work, it would enhance the quality of the work. Thank you very much. Thank you, the supervisors, and well done to the candidates, well presented. And I like this setting because this setting really shows that it's a conversation and everyone is listening and everyone is learning. Thank you very much for putting this together, and thanks for inviting me.
Thank you, Professor.
The topic of dissertation is very relevant, especially for countries with a low level of corporate governance and high level corporation corruption. At the same time, the following recommendation can be made. The study is limited to only 2 countries, including more countries would make the funding more generous. Some results may be influenced by factors that were not studied in detail, such as industry characteristics or company size. However, in general, the dissertation is written at a high level and meets the necessary requirements.
Who will say? Yes. There is nobody. Permanent members, maybe you want. Okay, but it is enough. You know? So, we must give the floor to the applicant herself for 1 minute.
Thank you very much, first of all, for your time, for allowing me to make this presentation. My special thanks to my supervisors. You were very patient with me, so thank you for that. Thank you for pushing me, dear members of the Dissertation Council. Thank you for agreeing to be the members of the council. Dr. Lalajit Reva, thank you very much for sharing your time with us. My also special thanks to the reviewers. Actually, your comments were very useful, especially in the preliminary rounding. So, well, I was just starting this process. So, and Professor Alpusbaeva, your comments were very useful as well, and they pinpointed some weaknesses, which I hope that I managed to address. Again, I was impressed by your ability to work and read all this high volume of information in such a short time and provide so many comments. So thank you very much. Indeed, I appreciate it. Well, colleagues, you were always supporting me, and yes, I was very nervous before coming here, so thank you for your support. My relatives, or some of them are online, yes, and Professor Consulpal, some special thanks for you because you are the one who pushed me with the publications. So your guidance was very helpful. Without it, I wouldn't be able to practice. But if I also would like to. This is okay, so I have to stop here.
We say these words at the end. No,
but in general, perhaps
about the comments.
Okay, about the comments. But before,
So
yes.
we have completed the discussion for the dissertation work of Dussembiной S.Х. Now we are moving on to the next stage of the council meeting, secret voting. To conduct a secret vote, The floor is used to the scientific secretary of the Dissertation Council, Kaliva.
Thank you very much. Dear permanent and temporary members of Dissertation Council and reviewers, I have sent a link to your email to voting. Please follow the link and vote. Start to voting. Professor Romanova, Professor Babajit, Professor Niadbaeva, and also Professor Alpsbaeva Znara. Amanova, yes, I sent all of this person.
Yes, I'm checking my email now. I can't see any link for voting.
You didn't get the link?
No, I didn't. I didn't get a link.
Я отправил проект адресам, которые вы мне дали.
А здесь еще выходит создать опрос, это нужно, нет?
Слышь?
Прошло или нет, да, что-то не поделила.
Yes, I still don't have a link in my email for voting.
Все. Do you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you. I can hear you. I still don't have a link to vote.
If you can send your email in the chat.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay, I've left my email in the chat box.
We can see that.
Нет, я вот это, на этот адрес я отправила. Сейчас продублирую. Professor Babajit, I'll send to you again.
Okay, so maybe we'll give it some few minutes to come. I'm monitoring my email.
Okay, thank you.
Maybe you could check your spam folder. Maybe it is there.
Okay, I've received it. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor.
Нас слышно, но там телефон начал.
Звуки,
вот видите? Вот это.
Он сел.
Okay, I've completed it now. Thank you.
А как быть? Теперь мне туда подойти? А как я подойду?
Почему? У вас спорт не работает, не заряжает.
But we can hear you well.
Dear councils, dear permanent and temporary members of the Dissertation Council, reviewers, our voting is over. So all 9 members took part in the voting by an unanimous decision of Dissertation Council. 9 members of 9 Dissertation Council members are voted by the was made to award the degree of Doctor of Philosophy. Oh, sorry, just a moment. So Just a moment, I show that my screen, share my screen. So you can see at the screen, we have the voting. Там же написано. Это на самом деле, что все 9 проголосовали. Да.
So, I ask you to vote to approve the results of the second vote. Also, that
Yes.
Temporary members also and the supervisor also.
Гульнара Дюсенбаевна, Бабаджит Микаэл, and Айгуль Амангельдиевна. So Dinara Alpaspayeva. Can you vote for this decision?
We approve the results of secret vote. Yes, 9. So we have result on. So the voting result has been approved based on the results of the secret vote. The dissertation council at the Kazakh National University named after Rabbit in the field of study 8041 business management decided to award Dюсембиной С.Х the degree of Doctor of Philosophy in specialty 6D050800 accounting. Dюсембиной С.Х, on behalf of the dissertation council, I congratulate you on the successful defense of your dissertation and wish you further creative success. Thank you very much. I want to give you the floor is the last word. What you have said.
Yes.
I was afraid that
Before the meeting of the dissertation council for the defense of the doctoral dissertation. So that is the conclusion. Thank you.
Thank you.
All members of permanent and
Viewers.
permanent and
Temporary. Yeah.
Temporary members, supervisors, your reviews. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for all the council. Yeah.
Congratulations. Congratulations.
Thank you and congratulations, Оля.
Я не знаю, легко. Все, можно выключить звук.
Да, можно.